Okay.
The first thing that we are going to do is we are going to look at some test-taking skills. And believe me, after doing this type of questions for years and years, I know what I'm talking about. Because I'm going to tell you, you can know this material up one side and down the other. But if you don't have the test-taking skills, you're not going to do well on the test. In other classes that you've had, you memorize the definition. When you get there, the teacher either wants you to match the word to the definition or something like that. We don't do that in this class. You not only have to know the definition, you have to know how to apply it to different situations. As soon as you learn how to do this, the sooner you'll be doing well on these tests. And then if I ever do give you a definition test, you'll whine and cry because you won't like them anymore. Too much memorization. We don't memorize stuff that we can get at the touch of our fingertips on the internet. So, first test-taking skill is to know what the question is asking. Wade through the fluff and get to the nitty-gritty. So what I would like for you to do is to read this test question. To raise their hand and tell me what the nitty-gritty is on this question. Yes, ma'am, baby. No, the nitty-gritty part of the question. The nitty-gritty, yes, sir.
Is it the proteins?
No, what's the nitty-gritty?
Everything's from paramecium. No, wait, actually single cell all the way through.
That's not the nitty-gritty.
What do you mean by nitty-gritty?
It's all fluff. All this is fluff. Nothing in there. This is talking about the contractile vacuole, using energy to expel water, yada, yada, yada. That's fluff. You got to learn to wade through the fluff. What's the nitty-gritty?
The nitty-gritty in this question would be, you're in a situation, I believe that's Appleton.
I want the nitty-gritty words of the question. First sentence is not the nitty-gritty. Yes, sir, ma'am. That has nothing to do with the question. Yes, ma'am, Olivia. No. What is this question asking about? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Here's the important part. The important part is paramecium surroundings. This question doesn't want to know about the paramecium. It wants to know about the paramecium's surroundings or environment. And when I got to this part right here, I would have gone, and I would have looked back up here and now said, now this says water is going into the paramecium. And Miss Reeser said water always goes to the
Hypertonic.
So that means that the surroundings are
Hypertonic.
high
Hyphoton, yeah.
Wade through the fluff and get to the nitty-gritty. Boys, there are chairs in the lab that you can pull in here as long as you take them back. And you'll be a lot more comfortable, or you can come up here and sit on the floor. Up here, you can't sit on the floor back there. I could not get the projector to recognize my computer or my computer to recognize the projector, and that's why we're stuck in here. All right, let's look at the next one.
Next question.
Ooh, y'all are eating that. Test taking skill number 2. And this is the God's truth no matter what. If you have choices that are more than a couple of words, you have to do this. You get the correct answer by eliminating the wrong answers. Get the correct answers by eliminating the wrong answers. Mr. Gardner, you away? One person, raise your hand and tell me what you think the answer is. Yes, ma'am. She thinks it's D. Now I need one person to raise their hand and tell me why it's not A. Kevin?
No.
Hayden?
That you know plasma members.
What?
That you know plasma members.
Yes. Every cell has a plasma membrane. If every cell did not have a plasma membrane, it wouldn't be a cell, it would be a blob. So every cell has a plasma membrane. Why is it not right, baby?
That explains why it doesn't have anything to do with what's
Not really, but they are the most abundant organisms on Earth. But why is it not A? Yes, Jesse?
because they have RNA and not DNA.
Ah, no, they have DNA. Why?
They don't have any.
No.
It doesn't have microscope.
Why?
Because they're in a rank.
I'm with Bethany. Why? They don't have organelles. Guys. Prokaryotes. Here we go. This organism has enzymes. All organisms have enzymes. It has DNA. If it didn't have DNA, it wouldn't exist. Ribosomes. You gotta have ribosomes or you can't make protein. Cell membrane. Everything's got cell membrane. And then here's the kicker. Alright, why is it not B? Why is it not B? Yes.
Plant and animal cells have mitochondria.
You betcha. If plants didn't have mitochondria, they couldn't grow or multiply or reproduce or anything. They couldn't even do photosynthesis unless they didn't have mitochondria. C is just stupid. And you're going to find out on all of these questions, there's going to be a way out there choice that can't possibly be right. There is going to be a choice that these two choices could be right if, and then there's going to be the right choice. there's always going to be a way out there choice. Now I'm going to tell you, this is called a distractor. There are more bacteria than any other organism. That's true. And so this is going to be your distractor. And when I did this test question, I don't have a teacher book. When I did this test question myself, that's the first thing I chose. Then I went back and read, mitochondria, could be that. I mean, I have to do eliminations just like you do. I see these things about 2 days before you do. When faced with a multi-part when faced with a multi-part answer, so let's say your answer can have an organelle and a justification. So when faced with a multi-part answer, you've got to split those answers into figure out whether each part is true or not. You may have the first part of all your choices may be true. But it's the second part that's going to be false. You can't, the biggest mistake ninth graders make on this first test is not reading every word of every choice. The biggest mistake. They see the first couple of words, they go, whoops, that's it. Alright, so your question is, each of the following statements are true about bulk transport except. Yes, ma'am. Huh?
Can you read the question?
Everything about all of these are true except for one about bulk transport. Bulk, bringing in big chunks, not diffusion, big chunks. All right, somebody raise your hand and give me the answer. Anybody? Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is A. Now look. Phagocytosis can bring in large amounts of substances. True or false? True. Through a channel protein. True or false? False. How does phago bring it in?
We're making it
Inward folds of the cell membrane. So that's false. Guys, your distractor, this way. Endocytosis bring materials into the cell by forming inward folds of the cell membrane. That's true. But it could also, endocytosis could also be about diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. Endo means come in, cyte means cell, we're coming into the cell. Exo, leaving the cell. Pino, which one? What's pino? Where are we bringing it in? Water. Okay. And guys, this would be your distractor because that is partially true. It's not completely true, it's partially true. And so that would be your distractor. But nothing they said was false here at all. They just didn't include everything. All right? Y'all have not had that till the next chapter. This is your test question on your next test. Nope. All right, let's go to the easy one. And the answer is? How many vote C? How many don't know? Kevin. What do we go? When we go down a concentration gradient, we're going from high concentration to low concentration. When we go against the concentration gradient, we're going from low to high. Okay. Yes, it is C. What's the nitty-gritty? What's the most important part? What is the main idea? Yes,
That things were placed into a sucrose.
that's the main idea. We took cells. Y'all see why I'm doing all that main idea stuff in class? What is this talking about? Y'all see why I'm doing all this? Okay. We took some cells and we put them in a sucrose solution. Now think, picture it. Picture a cell in a solution. You put a cell in a solution. You put eggs in a sucrose solution, syrup. So there is a fourth choice there, but I'll tell you right now the fourth choice is wrong. The right answer is up there. Somebody raise your hand and tell me what it is. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Good choice. Let's look at it. Here's my beaker. Guys, don't give me is it right or wrong. These are not actual, you folks got to understand how to do this test.
Is this a test question?
No. These are similar. Here's your red blood cell. Here's your leaf cell. Because we know plant cells are rectangular. If I look, guys, looking at me. Here is my sucrose solution or my syrup. Sucrose is sugar. Syrup happens to be made from fructose, but we're not going to argue that point. Alright. What happened when you put the egg in the syrup? What happened? It shriveled up. Why did the egg shrivel up when we put it in syrup? Because the water went to the hypertonic. What do you think is going to happen to these cells in this sucrose solution? Water is going to leave the cells. So what's your answer?
B.
B.
Ms. Reeser, are we gonna go over the, like, actual test questions or no?
Cheating. You want to leave?
No?
Well, you can leave if you want to.
I don't know.
Okay. These are just like the test questions.
Yeah, this one.
What's the answer? B. What do you know about, hey, look at me. What do you know about sodium going into a cell? How does it get through? The sodium potassium pump, which is active transport. When these cells are alive, sodium's not going in there. When they're dead, sodium can go in.
Wow.
When they're alive, it's not going in because the active transport's not turned on. The active transport doesn't need sodium ions, so it's not bringing them in. When it's dead, anything can go anywhere because it's dead. It can't control anything. Remember your sodium potassium pump, active transport. Is that on your study guide?
Yes, it is.
And the answer is? What? B is in boy. How many times have we gone over that? Thousands. Alrighty?
Why is every answer B?
I don't know. This is a definition word. You all should like this one. It's a definition word. It's a definition answer. What?
I was asking that.
Good Lord, y'all, I gave them
Jackson, how did you lose yours?
And somebody raise your hand and tell me the answer. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, homeostasis.
I told you second.
When you Yeah, web camera.
Was the Eagles busy?
No, they do.
What's a ring?
A bird.
A what?
Y'all losing interest?
No, ma'am.
So I have
Raise your hand and answer. Kevin.
B.
What?
B.
B is in boy?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
You are correct.
This is Jack.
That's why cells do transport, to maintain homeostasis. That's the only reason. They want to stay happy. Because if your cells ain't happy, you ain't happy. Oh, we just did that one. So they're easier to see. And the answer is, this is one of those definitions. Yes, sir. B, phagocytosis is correct. I'm sorry.
It makes it look bad. B. Oh wait, no. She's right there.
And the answer is A. All right. You have a data table. In the data table, we have corn syrup. If you will look at the 0%, it is 0% corn syrup. So what was it? Distilled water. And then we have 80% distilled water and 20% corn syrup. And then we have 60% water and 40% corn syrup. And then we have 60% syrup and 40% water. Do you see how the solutions get more and more concentrated? All right. So, why did the egg in the 0% solution gain mass? Yes. The egg was hypertonic to the solution.
The water.
Guys, you have to answer the egg was hypertonic to the solution. You can't just say it was hypertonic. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what it was hypertonic to. What? Oh, yeah. All right, the next one. Miss Wakefield, please either pay attention to this or leave. Okay? Thank you. Why did the egg in the 60% syrup solution lose the most mass? Mr. Troll.
Because the egg was starting to become hypotonic to the solution.
You're getting warmer. You're getting warm. Why?
Because there's more hypertonic than hypertonic. There's more syrup than water.
Why?
Because it showed that the hypertonic solution walked over from the egg into the soil.
It did, but it did that here, it did it here, and it did it here. Why did it do it the most here?
Because you had the most
Why, Hayden?
Higher points of concentration.
What?
And higher points of concentration.
It was a higher sort concentration. Big wood. Why did it lose the most?
Don't try again.
Yes. Now, a better way to put it. There was a bigger difference between the concentrations in the egg and the syrup. The greater the difference, the more water is going to move to reach equilibrium. The bigger the difference in the concentration. So your 60% is more hypertonic to the egg than the 40%. Because there's a bigger difference in the concentrations of the two objects, there has to be more water lost or moved to reach equilibrium. Do you understand that? Of course, we've already answered this question. What happened to make that egg lose or gain mass?
Water.
Water flow. What is the process of gaining or losing water across a selectively permeable membrane called? Osmosis. When microbiologist places these cells in distilled water, that should be distilled water. As you can tell, it must have been getting late. And the answer is? What? Me. Water moves into the cell because the cell is hypertonic to the distilled water. Now, to me, a more appropriate answer would be that salt ions moved out of the cell and water moved into the cell, because the salt ions would definitely be, they what they wanted. So here you go. We're going with what they wanted. What's that? Raise your hand and answer. What is that? Yes, ma'am, Bailey. I mean, no, what is that a slide of? All of that. Yes, ma'am.
Plant cell.
It is a plant cell. Somebody said onion cell, and you know what? That's true. Onion or plant. I took a picture with our microscope.
How'd you take a picture of it?
You know our microscope that's hooked up to the computer, and I told you I could take pictures of the cheek cells and email them to your parents, and nobody wanted to do it?